Hello everyone and welcome to the live Q&A with me, Professor Michael Scott. It is the 1st of June and I'm so glad that you're able to tune in and spend this half an hour, as we tend to do from time to time, delving into all the wonders of the past and escaping from kind of the crazy present for just a little bit. So thank you as ever for your great questions that have been coming in, and we've got some brilliant ones to answer today. And there's a couple for me to pick up on from last time, which I absolutely promised that I would do. And of course, we're here to share all the news and exciting things that have been going on in the ancient past as well, that are the finds, the new podcast, the new books, all the new exciting bits of news as well that are coming up. And there seem to be some rather good films about to kind of come into screen. And I'm not just talking about Indiana Jones, of course, but the Gladiator sequel and also the return of Odysseus as well, that is wrapping up filming as we speak. Now, kind of first off, the questions that have come in. There is some brilliant questions this week that take us from, if you can believe it, dentistry to toenail clipping via the Greek gods to thinking about commemoration of the past in past and present, to thinking about inspirational writing and writers, to the Elgin marbles, to indeed, of course, X Marks the Spot, my book, which launched last Thursday on the 25th of May and which I had the joy to be at the Hay Festival speaking about on Tuesday. So we're going to kick off with some of the X Marks the Spot questions that have been coming in, because already just talking to a number of you at the launch and then at the Hay Festival and in the book signing queue afterwards, there's clearly some key questions that are beginning to emerge that people are particularly interested in knowing the answers to. So kind of first off, if you haven't seen it, here we are. X Marks the Spot. The story of archaeology in 8 extraordinary discoveries. This absolutely fab cover, which I love, is now available in all good bookshops, on Amazon as an ebook and as an audio book, kind of read by me. So you can have 10 hours and 17 minutes of me reading X Marks the Spot to you if you so desire. Hello everyone. Hello Christina. Hello Marta. Hello Dee. How are you guys all doing? Hello from Malta. Marta's in Malta. Tell us where you are listening in the world. We always like to hear about the fabulous places that people are tuning in from, and often the crazy times that you're getting up in the night or in the early morning in order to tune in because of all the time differences. Hello Tracy. Hello Deborah. Hello Michael. Hello. Kind of great to see you all. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in. So the question that has been coming forward really clearly in a number of the different occasions that we have been talking about X Marks the Spot with audiences so far is, how did I end up choosing the particular 8 discoveries that I focus on in the book? It's a really good question. And there were a number of different factors. So Dee's asking about whether the book will be available in the US soon. Yes, it should be very soon indeed. But for the moment, it's amazon.co.uk that you can order from, particularly the ebook and the audio book. Hello, Fiona from Hereford, a kind of thing we were passing through just recently. Hello, everyone. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in. So how did I go about choosing the 8 particular stories that are kind of contained in this book? Well, partly one of the things I wanted to do was have a mix. Some of the ones that people would definitely have heard of, the hooks, if you like, of discoveries that really kind of do kind of pierce through into everyone's consciousness, whether you're interested in the past or not. So I'm thinking about chapters like the terracotta warriors, kind of which, we all have an image of them in our heads. Machu Picchu kind of is a place that kind of really has sort of become synonymous with pasts and histories of all kind, even though actually when we delve into the story of Machu Picchu, as we did at the Hay Festival, we realize it's a lot more complicated and slightly weird than that. Excuse me, I'm still also suffering from a cough cold. Oh dear, but I haven't been able to shake. So we've got examples like that. And also we've got the Rosetta Stone, which is our starting chapter. Now this for me does 2 things. One, of course, it's a well-known object that people kind of know about and know something a little bit about the discovery and exploration story behind it, and indeed kind of how important it was as an object. Jenny, you're on chapter 2, so you're in the middle of the Taklamakan Desert as we speak. Excellent. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the book. But also the Rosetta Stone kind of really being discovered in 1799 kicks off, for me, the very beginnings of the story of archaeology as a discipline. And the other thing I wanted to do with this book was really tell that story of the modern evolution of the story of archaeology and anthropology as disciplines, that kind of formalized technical study of the past, and how that has evolved and distinguished itself from the kind of antiquarian just hunt for nice, pretty looking things from the past that really preceded it. And that moment around 1799, the turn of the 18th into the 19th century, is absolutely crucial for the evolution of archaeology. So our story starts with the Rosetta Stone, and then it moves forward chronologically. So I had my key markers of the terracotta warriors, Machu Picchu, the Rosetta Stone, and then I was looking, okay, so what kind of key discoveries and thoughts make interesting counterparts that might be less well known, that also at the same time move through time from 1799 through to the modern day to kind of fill in the different stages of the evolution of that journey. So that's why Jenny's reading chapter 2 about Mark Aurel Stein in the Taklamakan Desert, an fascinating explorer at the very beginning of the 20th century that really is exploring into places that at that stage were blanks on the map and bringing back objects that were opening up whole new ideas of cultures, particularly in this case of interconnected Silk Roads. But then I wanted stuff that brought us up very much to the modern day, into 2023 as well. So that's where the final chapter on Keros, the tiny uninhabited island of the Aegean, come in. And this almost sort of feels like it's me coming into this story, or at least connecting into this story of the evolution of archaeology, because when the main recent excavations on Keros began, which was in 2006, I was a PhD student. I was based out at the British School at Athens at the time, and I bore witness to the excavation teams coming through the British School at Athens, getting ready to head off to the island of Keros to open up that first season of excavation that was remarkably, on day one of excavation, going to uncover this incredible find that has turned Keros from what is now an uninhabited island of the Aegean into what we now know as the epicenter of the earliest maritime kind of, if you like, international sanctuary in the world, dating from the late Bronze Age. And kind of one of my favourite facts from that chapter is I saw with my own eyes the lead excavator, Professor Lord Colin Renfrew, building up supplies of the key food that he felt that all excavators needed to have with them, particularly when they're excavating on an uninhabited island all day. And that, of course, was tin sardines. Now, of course, you can't have a better excavation archaeological food than tin sardines. So believes Colin Renfrew. He stockpiled them, exported them out to Anarkoufinisi, the island that they were living on, and then every day the team would take their tin of tin sardines, along with some fresh bread and a few tomatoes, to sustain them through a busy time excavating on the island. So we've got some lesser known, more modern excavations like on Keros, but equally other ones that probe different areas and kinds of archaeology. So I wanted to have an underwater archaeology chapter, and that's the Uluburun shipwreck from the 1970s. I wanted to have some kind of one that came from kind of where they've actually had to excavate it out of the ice, which is where the Princess of Altai chapter up in Siberia comes from as well. And then in between that, we wanted to have different geographical locations all the way around the world. So that brings us why we head to Africa and we think about Mary Leakey's amazing work with the origins of humankind in the 1960s as well in there. So hopefully that gives you a sense of how we've ended up choosing the 8 that we have. Amazing stories, some more well-known, some less well-known, some that kind of take us through that timeline from about 1799 through to the present day to give us the sense of the story of archaeology as it's evolved. And then some of my particular favourites and particular kinds of archaeology that I really wanted to get front and centre, that require very different kinds of experiences and responses. And my favourite fact, if you're looking at the underwater archaeology chapter in Uluburun, is that for every 50 feet or so you dive down, the narcotic effect of the oxygen and nitrogen that you're breathing in your aqualung is the equivalent to drinking a gin martini. So when they were excavating the Uluburun shipwreck that was sort of 40 to 50 metres down underwater, the excavators were in fact excavating 3.5 gin martinis down, and imagine having to kind of keep focused on your work while you've had that many drinks inside you. Not an easy thing to do in any way, shape or form. Hello, Chantal. Hello, Pietro. Hello, Manuel. Hello, Dee. Hello, Jenny. Everyone. Thank you, Fiona. Thanks so much indeed for coming along. Will there be a TV series of the book, Prof? Well, who knows? At the moment, there are no current plans, but hopefully we might be able to tempt someone into doing at least some of the stories in this book, because they all deserve to be much more well known. So how did I choose the 8 chapters? There you go. But I now have a question for you guys, which as you read the book through and get hold of the book, I want you to sort of send in your answers. So not necessarily today, but to the Facebook page or by email to michaelscottacademic@gmail.com. And that crucially is, what's your favorite story, right? What is your favorite discovery from the 8 that are in the book? And already there's been some fascinating debates by people reading it, particularly in the editorial team at Hodder, about which was their particular favorite. And then those who have been very kind to read it and offer up some thoughts and some quotes that you'll find on the jacket of the book in advance, which has been their favorite story, which have they identified with the most or found the most surprising or the most unusual. So do let us know, right? Get in touch via the Facebook page, Prof MC Scott or Professor Michael Scott on the Facebook page, or you can email at michaelscottacademic@gmail.com, or get in touch via Instagram, Prof MC Scott, or Twitter, Prof MC Scott. Let us know which is your favourite story within the book, and we'll do a bit of a poll over time, over the next couple of months, to see which of these 8 discoveries ends up becoming the favourite. So thank you so much indeed for your questions about askprofmcscott, and I really hope that you enjoy it as you get a chance to read it. And the next time we meet, we will also be doing, we've had a bit of a hiatus of this, but we will be looking back at the questions that we have answered over the last couple of Q&As. And as ever, people are familiar. Hang on a sec. Oh, we lost you for a second with a bit of a problem with the wireless connection. Sorry, we had a phone call coming in at the same time. Fingers crossed that you are all back online now. But yes, so there will be a prize giveaway next time that we meet, which will be a copy of X Marks the Spot for the best question that we've managed to answer while on live. So let's get on with asking and answering some more of those questions. Chantal Lebrun, you've just joined us. I know in ancient Egypt that wiring teeth as a form of dentistry was done for the elite, and that Cleopatra learned alchemy. But my question is, when did this advancement in antiquity come by, and if so, who and when? In particular, you're asking about dentistry and the advent of dentistry. Interesting questions. And already, actually, there's quite a lot of evidence from the ancient world for dentistry being undertaken. Perhaps not in the form that we might want to undertake. But on the one hand, we have to remember that there wouldn't have been necessarily so many of the modern problems that we have with our teeth. Not so many cavities, for instance, because the diet just wasn't so sugar and processed food heavy in antiquity. But on the other hand, a lot more problem with wearing down of teeth from the heavier chewing, from the harsh food, and particularly from the stuff that food would be mixed with. So we know in Egypt, for instance, we've seen lots of stuff is mixed up with sand that people were eating, and of course that would have been wearing on the teeth. But for knocking a tooth out, you could actually be fined in ancient Rome quite a lot of money. A particular set of rules that exists from early Republican Rome, the 12 Tables of Rome, actually lays out a fine if you knock out somebody's tooth. And there was toothpaste around the ancient world as well. We know that the Greeks were using mint for their toothpaste as well. So there's people were in some ways looking after their teeth on a regular basis, as well as then if they had a particular problem going to the dentist. But by the mid 3rd century AD, you actually had a saint in the early development of Christianity. So mid 3rd century, around 249. This is the period when Christians within the Roman Empire are still being heavily persecuted by Roman mobs. It's still a good 100 years or more away from becoming a official accepted part of the Roman Empire, and even more from becoming the official religion of the Roman Empire. And a woman called Saint Apollonia actually was stoned to death by a Roman mob. But as she called out, she is said to have called out that she will be there for anyone who is suffering from toothache. So from 249 onwards, later on, of course, declared a saint by the Christian Church, Saint Apollonia is the saint of toothaches and is there to look after you and to give you relief from toothache. But before Saint Apollonia was on the scene, Pliny would give you another very good solution for toothache, and that was by moonlight, and very specifically by moonlight, you should go out to find a frog. And if you find a frog by moonlight, the frog will take away your toothache. Now, prizes to anyone who goes out and tries this if they've got toothache, and if it kind of works, that would be interesting to hear indeed. But kind of, who knows? You know, if Pliny says that it might work, it may well work. But kind of thinking about dentistry, actual kind of dentistry and bridge work and wiring in the teeth, it wasn't just the Egyptians doing it. We know the Romans were doing it as well, although they were pretty... how can I say, sort of not very delicate. Kind of the bridges that have survived and the bits of kind of fake teeth that survive, very much kind of, you know, wood with bits stuck into it, which kind of fitted very well into the mouth. But on the other hand, the pre-Roman civilization of the Etruscans, some of the surviving evidence from the Etruscan civilization is absolutely beautiful dentistry, and particularly fake bridges or sort of bridge work made of ox bone, and utilising gold wire to then attach it into remaining teeth. And the quality of the work, and from a dentistry perspective, when dentists look at this stuff, they look at it and they go, you know, wow, we won't see this kind of quality, fine quality of fit and design for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years afterwards. So the Etruscans really were, of all the ancients, at the forefront of dentistry, and if you had a problem with your teeth, you definitely wanted to be with the Etruscans rather than with the Romans, or indeed, frankly, with Pliny searching for a frog. So Chantal, thank you very much indeed for your question. We've had another great question. I said we were going from dentistry to fingernails. So Varsha Roche has been in touch to ask about how did people cut fingernails and toenails before nail clippers and scissors were invented? Well, you know, kind of here we go. Like kind of we think of these things as being around for a long time, but actually what did people do before that? And again, kind of we have some really interesting references to it, and a lot of it comes from the Roman writer Horace. Now, Horace talks about both the fact that kind of you could go to a barber shop and kind of while you were having, you know, perhaps a bit of a haircut, perhaps a bit of a beard shave, there would also be someone there with a small knife that they would use to sort of pare down your nails. So not so much rubbing as we might imagine to sort of, you know, kind of rub them down, but actually using a knife to sort of slice and pare across them kind of would be the preferred way, at least in the Roman worlds. Kind of for getting your fingernails and toenails in shape. But Horace also talks about the fact that people would be biting their fingernails from nervousness. So again, it's one of these great things that connects us up between the ancient world and the modern world, that kind of, you know, there was also a lot of people out there in antiquity biting their nails out of nervousness, just as there are today. A good, easy care way of keeping your nails shorter. But kind of this was also the era of painting nails for the first time. So we know that Cleopatra, coming back to Cleopatra, famously used a sort of henna product to stain her nails a red colour that was considered remarkable and kind of highlight of kind of a female beauty of the era. So you could bite your nails, you could use a knife to pare down your nails, and obviously to keep your nails clean under the nails as well. So lots of options before the kind of wonderful kind of toenail clipping system was invented. Patricia, I'm sorry to hear you're having sound problems. D, kiss the frog if you also want a prince, and it might get rid of your toothache at the same time. Who knew? And Fiona's talking about one of the things that the Romans didn't do for us was good dentistry. Yes, I kind of have to agree. It would have been a little bit more kind of hit and miss with the Romans. So Varsha, thank you very much indeed for your question. Now, Marietta Favalora Canale has also been in touch. Asking about what's the difference between the mythology and the Greek gods? Coming at it from a Christian perspective, don't we just see the Greek gods as myth? Marietta, you're asking a great question. Of course, yes, kind of if you're not a believer within the Greek pantheon or of the Greek pantheon, if you're coming from a different religion, then yes, all seems like a very different and mythological kind of fabled, fake world, doesn't it? But actually, kind of when you were within the Greek world, and if you were a believer in the Greek pantheon, then the gods were as natural a part of the world as you can possibly imagine. There was gods everywhere and in everything, the different, not just the 12 kind of Olympian gods that we imagine in the pantheon, but those gods with lots of different epithets attached to their names that were then kind of had different particular aspects of their character that were worshipped in different places, but literally kind of a god kind of everywhere you turned. And gods, of course, could be for you and against you within the ancient Greek world. So the idea that you had to do everything you could to keep them on side was a very real preoccupation of the Greeks. No conception of a benevolent deity whatsoever. If the gods were against you, you really were in trouble. And so it was worth huge amounts of your time and effort to keep them on side. But a number of those stories and ways that you knew about the gods and what they particularly liked and what they didn't like and why they liked and didn't like those things came down to you through and to your to your community, to the wider Greek culture, through the telling of stories. And the word myth comes from the ancient Greek word mythos, which is meaning a story. But the Greeks didn't distinguish between the modern conceptions really that we have of myth necessarily as being something which isn't true, it didn't really happen, it's just a good story, versus kind of history. There's a very, very kind of useful, ambiguous overlap between those two different ideas. Although they get a little bit more distinguished later on in Greek history, but actually kind of there's always a useful overlap between them. Because these stories that are told about the very beginnings of time and of the genealogies of the gods themselves hold value because they help explain how you need to behave in your current moment, whenever that was within the ancient world, in order to have the gods on side and why particular gods were worshipped in particular places in the way that they were. So these stories are the keys to helping you navigate the world of the gods, which you have to do successfully if you want to kind of have any kind of successful life. So Marietta, thank you so much indeed for your question. As to everyone, hello Tracy, hello Latifa, hello Justin, hello everyone. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in. It's time for us to go and have a look at some of the things that are happening around the ancient world. Kind of all great fun indeed. So there's going to be a new high-speed train that will connect Rome to Pompeii. So you'll be able to zoom between two of the best sites in the entire Mediterranean world in even faster kind of time. And hopefully it'll happen quicker than HS2 here in the UK. But on the other hand, if you get your chance to go over to Arabia, 3 new Roman camps have been identified by the University of Oxford School of Archaeology using remote sensing survey. 3 undiscovered Roman fortified camps across northern Arabia, almost certainly built by the army, perhaps as part of a so far undocumented military campaign. So watch this space for more news here. Then we mentioned films earlier on. They've announced another star of the Gladiator sequel. Joseph Quinn is set to be in the Gladiator sequel, starring as the Roman Emperor Caracalla. This is alongside, I hadn't realised this cast was so extraordinary, Paul Mescal, Connie Nielsen returning as they said, but Denzel Washington and Barry Keoghan are also going to be kind of in the movie. This is turning up to be something really quite extraordinary. And then we also mentioned, didn't we, that where is it about the finishing up of filming for the absolutely brilliant Return of Odysseus book. I'm trying to find out where I've got a note of this. But yes, so apparently filming is finishing up on Cyprus. Is it Cyprus where it kind of filming up has been finishing up with Ralph finds, kind of in the return of Odysseus, which looks absolutely brilliant. And also Juliette Binoche, kind of, so that is going to be great as well. A new ancient, the Greek healing temple belonging to Asclepius at Trikala is going to be restored up in Thessaly. So we're going to have another brilliant temple to visit in much more kind of understandable format. The Ministry of Culture has revealed. And then over in Wales, a massive full-scale Roman fort is going to be built in Wales on 120 acres of land so that people from all across Europe can come to be trained as Roman soldiers. Well, this is absolutely extraordinary. So kind of, yes, Roman legions, horsemen and archers from all over Europe will be heading to Wales for an authentic living history event. A full-scale Roman wooden fort is taking shape in the Flintshire countryside, and it will be the base for a 9-day festival showing what life was like for the people who live there and training them up to be, no doubt, a formidable fighting force. So you've heard it here. Get to Wales, get your soldier gear on, and you can enjoy a whole 9-day festival of living it up like a Roman soldier. Kind of on that hand, we did talk about the Romans not bringing good dentistry to us, absolutely. But on the other hand, English Heritage have now added, alongside the long list of Monty Python's list of sanitation, medicine, education, wine, public order, irrigation, roads, fresh water system, public health, have added waxing. Yes, indeed. Kind of hair removal. English Heritage are now arguing that from painful waxes to irritating shaves, we can trace the modern obsession with hair removal back to the Romans. It's all their fault, we can happily say, kind of according to English Heritage. And here we are. Yes, so Ralph Fiennes and Juliette Binoche is playing Penelope. Ralph Fiennes, obviously, as Odysseus, wrapping up filming at the end of the month on Corfu. Sorry, not Cyprus, Corfu. That comes from the Greek broadcaster. So that sounds like it's going to be an absolutely brilliant kind of program to watch when it comes out. So lots of amazing news going on around the ancient world. But in terms of things on and coming up for you to join in over the next couple of weeks. Kind of looking a bit further ahead, but you need to get your tickets sharp for this one. Monday, the 9th of October, Mary Beard will be talking at the Sheldonian Theatre on Broad Street about her new book about Roman emperors. Then, if you haven't had a chance already, get there now to the Luxury and Power exhibition that has just unveiled at the British Museum. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. And we take a small amount of pride here because the curator of this great exhibition at the British Museum has talked about how the shows that we did about luxury in the ancient Greek world back in 2011, so long ago, kind of were actually partly an inspiration for delivering this exhibition at the British Museum. So kind of that would be good. James talking about how Caesar used to remove the hairs on his legs with hot walnuts. Again, I take no responsibility if anyone tries this at home, but if it does work, kind of let us know. But the Luxury and Power exhibition at the British Museum is open right away through until the 13th of August. But on the 1st of July, there is going to be a series of talks at the British Museum organised in conjunction with City Lit. And I put this out on my Twitter feed today that you can now book for this event. And I will be talking as part of this event on the 1st of July as well. And doing a talk about luxury kind of in the realm of the ancient Greeks. And then there'll be a book signing chance afterwards as well for a variety of my books that are there with the British Museum shop. So I hope very much to see some of you on the 1st of July in the British Museum. There's the Classics for All online summer school coming up in August as well. Free training for state school teachers, so do have a think about getting involved in that. If you are around the Chalk Valley History Festival, we're down in Salisbury at the end of June. I'll be talking there on the 26th of June about X marks the spot. So do pop along and join us. And if you are up at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in August, then the Warwick Classics production of Aristophanes' Assembly Women is going to be at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. So do pop along and support an absolutely fantastic production that you may have had the chance to see at Warwick back in January time. It's now going to be kind of up at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe over August as well. It's a great new podcast. There's a new History Hit podcast about the birthplace of democracy, Athens. Another one about the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And you can also hear some podcasts from me about my book, X Marks the Spot. So History Extra, the BBC History Magazine podcast, has got a podcast live out now from me about X Marks the Spot. There will be another one coming soon on Sam Willis's Mariners podcast, thinking particularly about the underwater chapter at Uluburun. And then there is going to be coming up soon a History Hit podcast as well. And there will also be a History Hack podcast coming out about the book. Elliot says Assembly Women at Warwick was brilliant. Thank you so much. Indeed, you would recommend. Hope you get a chance to go and see that all at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. And you can also catch a lecture that I gave in conjunction with the Assembly Women Day at Warwick in January. That's now available on YouTube. If you have a look on our YouTube channel as well, you can have a watch of it there. So some brilliant things going on. We are already out of time and over time. I apologise. Alexis Brown, Hannah Jones, Steve Rell, we haven't got to your questions, but we will do next time, I absolutely promise. Next time is going to be on the 6th of July, 5 p.m. UK time, in about a month, on the 6th of July. So I very much hope. Jenny's asking about doing something on Sky with Amanda Holden. Yes, indeed. Now, apparently that programme series was supposed to come out around now, but they've actually delayed it until the autumn. So keep an eye out for Amanda Holden doing something really quite interesting, a whole programme, her and Dan Jones presenting a whole series about sex through history. And I come in to help out, understand a little bit about Spartan attitudes to these things with Amanda. And you can see me putting her through her paces in Spartan boot camp. So yes, I say no more, but keep an eye out for that in the autumn. Thanks so much indeed to everyone for tuning in. We will see you next time on the 6th of July. Remember, it'll be prize week. We'll be giving away a prize for the best question that we've managed to answer over the last couple of Q&As. Do send in your questions to michaelscottacademic@gmail.com or via the Facebook page. It's absolutely fab to have your questions, and we look forward to seeing you in a month's time on the Q&A, or if not, sooner at a number of the events coming up, either at Chalk Valley on the 26th of June or at the City Lit British Museum Day on the 1st of July. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.